Hey guys, so we're just going to go through and have a look at height, angle, and speed of release today. So just make sure, just jot down a couple of notes, and we'll relate it back to some practical situations and scenarios in class and in your worksheet. So basically, when we're talking about height, angle, and speed of release, we're really talking about projectile motion. So we're looking at when you're throwing an object or a body into the air. So when we're looking at angle of release, so angle of release refers to the angle that a projectile is released at. So when you throw a javelin, what sort of angle are you releasing that javelin into the air? So is it straight up, or is it at a bit of a 45 angle, or is it lower, etc. And the same goes for the whole body sort of stuff. So when you're jumping in long jump, what sort of angle is it that you're jumping at? So 45 degrees is basically the optimum angle from ground level. So that's sort of your jumps. If you're trying to, obviously this is sort of if you're trying to get that maximum distance on the jump or on the release. Be a little bit different for high jump where you're trying to jump vertical. So this is more your horizontal sort of jumps and throws. So yeah, 45 degrees optimum angle from ground level, but once you get above ground level, the optimum angle changes to about 42 degrees. Now that's because as soon as you raise that height above ground level, you actually already have time for the projectile or the object to drop to the ground. So you don't need that vertical angle, you need more of that horizontal angle. So this is just a quick graph just to show and demonstrate. So there's three different angles. There's 30 degree angle, a 45 degree angle, and a 60 degree angle. And the different lines are actually just how much force has been put on the object. So if you have a look at all of them, this 45 degree angle one for each tree, so for each different level of force, that 45 degree from ground level is actually your optimum angle of release. So if you're releasing a bit higher, then you're going to lose that force to vertical angle instead of horizontal angle. And if you're releasing too low, then there's not enough time before the object hits the ground in order for it to make up and gain that distance. So that's just a quick look. So just to show you, so that 45 degree angle there is really your optimum angle of release. Now height of release just refers to the height above ground level that an object is released at. So this is like your shot put or your javelin, all those sort of ones. You're not throwing it from laying down and throwing it. You're above ground level when you throw that object. So basically with height of release, if the same force is being put onto an object, then a greater height of release will mean more distance. Because if you think about it, the higher up you release an object, the more time before it's going to come down to the ground and hit. So the more time that object has in the air to actually gain that distance. So a taller shot put instantly has an advantage. It doesn't mean they're going to win, it's really about force. So if that same force is being put on the same shot put from two different athletes, then the taller one is always going to win, especially if the same angle of release is being put on it as well. And just really quickly, if the release point is lower than the target, so for example basketball, when we're shooting to get it into the basketball net where you really usually lower than our target, then obviously the release angle is going to need to be a lot greater than 45 degrees. Otherwise it's not going to have that nice up and drop into the target area. Now the very last one is your speed of release. So this is your acceleration sort of stuff. So the greater the speed of release, the greater the distance a projectile is going to travel. So when you put that shot put, that's why I'm talking about you really want to be using very explosive movements, really quick explosive movements, because that's going to create a greater speed of release on the object. And this aspect actually has the greatest bearing on the distance that an object will travel. So if you've got an object going at 45 degrees but it's only got no speed of release on it, then it's not going to go very far anyway. So this really directly relates to Newton's second law, looking at acceleration. So if the mass of the shot put's the same and you're increasing your acceleration, which is the speed of release, then you're always going to have more force behind it and it's going to travel further. So yeah, hopefully that they all made sense. And just remember those key points really, you know, the 45 degrees for angle of release from ground level, 42 degrees once you start to get a bit of a height on the release. And if you are releasing with the same force, same mass, same angle of release, then taller athlete is always going to have the advantage. And the last one being, the more speed of release you have, the greater that object is going to travel. So yeah, we'll go through some things and just answer those quick questions just to see where you're at with your understandings. Thank you.